All right. Good morning, Columbia. You're listening to the Fran Halloran Show. I am Fran Halloran. You're listening to us on Columbia's local talk radio experience, The Point, 95.9 FM, 1470 AM. Brian and I will be with you till about 10 today. You have lots of choices when it comes to what you're listening to, so thank you very much for choosing to listen to us today. I promise you, as I always do, every single week I make this promise to you, that today we're going to do everything we can to do a little better than we did last week. If we're not trying to improve, then we're going backwards. So anyway, as I always like to do for those of you who might be new to the party, and judging from our incredible party on Monday night, we may have some new folks who could be listening. So I want to make sure people know who I am and what we do. I'm actually involved in a number of business ventures in the Midlands. I have a number of licenses in the state of South Carolina that allow me to sell investment and insurance products. If you want to know more about that side of what I do, feel free to Google my name in Lexington, South Carolina, and you can find all kinds of information about Fran Halloran. But when I'm on this radio every Thursday morning from 9 to 10, I serve in a very different capacity. I'm a Dave Ramsey financial coach. A pro coach is actually the title Dave and his team have given to those of us who have gone through his Master Series training in Nashville. And I'm here to offer you solutions to your financial problems without any fear of a sales pitch. The plan we use is very simple. It's called intentional planning, and it works for anyone who has a desire to live differently. The basis for this plan is a very simple piece of scripture, comes from the book of Corinthians, and it simply says that all things should be done in an orderly and fitting fashion. I believe that, folks. I believe that with my whole heart, that a huge part of the problem all human beings have is we fly by the seat of our pants in everything that we do. And we can kind of get away with it a little bit in some aspects of our life for at least a time. But with money, you cannot. If you don't have a plan, you're in a lot of trouble. Now, let me quell some fears. You don't have to have a lot of money to do what we teach. You don't have to buy any kind of fancy software. You don't need to buy a product. If you ever talk to someone who says, oh, well, this particular investment or insurance product is going to solve all your problems, or this piece of software is going to solve all your problems, run, and run quickly. They're scamming you. You don't need that stuff. All you need is a desire to change your life, to get to the goal, folks, which is financial freedom. You can find Intentional Planning Group at www.ipgsc.com. That's IPG, Intentional Planning Group, South Carolina.com, ipgsc.com on the web. You can call IPG at 803-792-1045 anytime, day or night. There you can hook up with coaches who can teach you and motivate you so that you can reach your goal of financial freedom. I've often said that I'm the talking head, if you will, for IPG, and I train the coaches. My wife is Susie. My wife Susie is the brains behind the outfit. I know how over my head I married. Well, that's enough of that. That's who I am. That's who we are at IPG. We tend to teach Logic on Fire every Thursday from 9 to 10. The show is supposed to be interactive, so please consider giving me a call here in the studio. Brian and I would be happy to take those calls for you, from you. 799-TALK, 799-8255. You can text us at 792-1045, or you can email Coach Fran at makethepointradio.com. That is by far and away the way most people seem to want to communicate. I'm assuming that's because people are at work, can't really make phone calls, but we get a lot of emails both during and after the show. So, and to that point about our show desiring to be interactive, I have a question of the day. And believe it or not, this is a repeat. We did this question some time ago, and I want to do it again because I was reminded today of this question by my own thoughts of doing stupid with money. So, question of the day today is, what is the stupidest purchase you've ever made? What is the dumbest thing you've ever bought with money? All right? I've got a story to tell along those lines. I thought of something this week that I just can't believe I spent my money on. Folks, let me make sure you understand something. The guy talking to you right now, the guy seated in front of this, as Rush Limbaugh likes to say, golden microphone, has done plenty of stupid with money. We all have done stupid with money, and we want to try to help you from doing more stupid with money. So what's the dumbest thing? What's the stupidest purchase you've ever made? We have a lot to get to today, a lot of emails, and I'm going to get to those. Let me give you a roadmap so that you know where we're headed, and so maybe you'll decide to stick with us for the whole hour. During our second segment today, we want to talk for a minute about when living intentionally becomes the norm and not the exception, what your life starts to look like there. In the third segment, our That's a Bunch of Crap segment, we're going to talk about enabling our children, especially adult children, by giving them gifts. And finally, in our fourth segment today, we're going to talk a little bit about temporary seasonal changes that will change your life. Changes that may cause you to miss a little time with your family or your loved ones, or may put you in a position where you've got to curtail your saving, your debt eradication, even your investing. So Brian has already given me the 2-finger warning, so it means we've got 2 minutes left. So let me get to a couple of emails here. Coach Fran, I have a number of old retirement accounts from old employers. I have lost all the paperwork for all those accounts. How do I go about finding my money? And then what do I do with the money? All right, so a couple things going on here. First of all, folks, this is why we encourage you vehemently that when you change employers, you make sure you take your 401k, your 403b, your 457, whatever they had set up for you, you take it with you. The day you leave, you get the paperwork so that you can take that money with you. I mean, by golly, this guy's changed jobs 3 or 4 times. I guarantee you he took the contents of his desk, which probably weren't worth $20. He put them in a box and he packed it up and he said, this is my stuff and I'm out the door. But he left his money in the company 401k. Not a smart move. So the very first thing you've got to do is you got to go back to all those old employers and you've got to say, I worked from you from this time to this time. I left money in the plan, in the 401k plan, and I need to get it moved. It's going to take you a little time because chances are good personnel has changed, maybe corporate locations have changed. You might have to do a little legwork, but you've got to call those previous employers. You've got to let them know when you worked for them, and you're going to need to ask for the paperwork so that you can move your 401ks. Once you get the paperwork and you get it all taken care of, you're going to want to move those 401ks into IRAs. We're up against a break already. You can call me if you have questions about this. This is something we do for people all the time. You're listening to the Fran Halloran Show. I'm Fran Halloran, and I'll be back on the other side of these messages.